It's the Happy Families podcast. It's the podcast for the time-poor parent who just wants answers now.
G'day, this is Dr. Justin Coulson, the founder of happyfamilies.com.au and dad to 6 kids. Normally, I'm here with Kylie, my wife, Mrs. Happy Families, as my parenting podcast co-host, but it's school holidays in Queensland. I hope that you're having a great school holiday break with your kids. Kylie and I will be back from our holidays with a whole lot of new episodes of the Happy Families podcast, starting again on July the 11th. But for now, some highlights from recent Happy Families podcasts. Steve Biddulph is a best-selling author, and we talked to him in episode 324 about his book, Fully Human, and his idea of a super sense. Steve explained what that is and how to tap into it.
We have our normal everyday brain, but we have a wider brain that's on the right side, which takes in everything, and it talks to us through our guts. And so everyone listening would know what I mean by a gut feeling. But it's actually literally true. Justin or Kylie, if you go down inside your belly, just right now as I'm talking to you, there'll be a bunch of sensations going on down in the middle of your body. And people listening, the same thing. And it'll be something about what I'm saying to you. Is it making sense? Does it sound like a load of rubbish? Or should I have gone to the toilet before I sat down for the interview? It's like the wild part of you, and it's always there, and it's always giving you a kind of a reading on the situation. And I call it super sense because it's very, very alert and very wise to what's going on. And it's just, you just go there by traveling down inside your body. And so if one of your kids comes home from school and says something and the tone of their voice isn't quite right, or something about their expression is a little bit just not quite right, if you're busy and you're thinking fast and you're doing a lot of things, you won't register that. But somewhere inside you will notice. And if you think back to that conversation, somewhere deep down in your gut, there'll be a kind of just a little twinge of, something wasn't right there. And so what I'm encouraging people to do is to listen to your super sense, go down into your body, be aware of what's happening all the time, because in a way, this is the real you. This is where you live. You don't live in your thoughts. You don't live in your emotions. There's a more peaceful place. And your super sense is where you'll get your feeling of steadiness from. And so a family is like a cyclone, it's whirling around you. But if you go into your own body, you'll be in touch with you. And that kind of wild creature like a panther or a big mama bear that is steady and strong. And that'll know if you're rushing too much. It'll know if you're not breathing deeply enough. It'll know if you need to go into your child's bedroom and say, what did you mean by that? And the magical thing about it is as you start to get in touch with your own super sense, you will be more present and your children will experience you as being there for them. Because we all say, don't we? We have to be there for our children. Now, I used to be a very anxious person. I'm on the autism spectrum and I'm just naturally anxious. And sometimes my daughter would say, Dad, where are you? You're just not here. And I'd look at her with penetrating eyes and work to try and be there and listen and think. But it didn't do the trick because I wasn't inside myself. And now that I've learned to use super sense and travel down, to be like down in my belly, noticing my own sensations, then what happens is I'm also more aware of my children.
That's Steve Biddulph from episode 324 of the Happy Families podcast, talking about his book, Fully Human. Your daughter just walked by, eyes glued to her phone, expression unreadable. You ask her to put it down, but she balks. You know it's not good for her, but you're not sure why, or how to support better choices. In the webinar Pixel Perfect, I join with psychologist and teen tech expert Jocelyn Brewer to discuss how to set screen boundaries that work for you and your daughter. Check out Pixel Perfect now on the Happy Families webshop. Really appreciate you listening to the Happy Families podcast. If you ever find us talking about something that you would love to have some input on, you can email us, podcasts@happyfamilies.com.au. We especially love it when you send us voice memos. Open up your telephone, click on the voice memos app, and just tell us what's on your mind. Try to keep it to 20 or 30 seconds. The shorter it can be, the more likely it is that we can use it on the podcast. Podcasts@happyfamilies.com.au. Send us your voice memos. We would love to have your voice as part of the Happy Families podcast, which is produced by Justin Rulon from Bridge Media. Craig Bruce is our executive producer. And if you'd like more info about making your family happier, visit us at happyfamilies.com.au.